Hello there, I'm Unman Bhattacharya and you are watching Connecting the Dots, a show that connects the dots to get you the full picture of raging global issues. Boycott Maldives, explore Indian islands. These trends have been all over social media of late. This started after 3 Maldivian ministers spewed anti-India venom. While an under-pressure Maldivian government did cut the erring ministers to size, today we ask, is this row a game of puppetry? And if it is, who is the puppeteer controlling the game from behind the scenes? We explore that next. If you haven't been to Lakshadweep in India, this video of Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi can get you to plan a trip to it.
लक्षद्वीप की सुंदरता को शब्दों में समेटना बहुत मुश्किल है। जो लोग दुनिया के अलग-अलग देशों के द्वीपों को देखने जाना चाहते हैं, वहां के समंदर से अभिभूत है। उनसे मेरा आग्रह है कि वो पहले लक्षद्वीप आकर जरूर देखें।
These striking visuals of PM Modi's visit to Lakshadweep on the 2nd and 3rd of January 2024 had a noticeable impact. There was a sudden surge in online searches about the Lakshadweep Islands. On a single day, 50,000 users searched for Lakshadweep on Google. This surge in interest was not an ordinary one, but one that was never seen before in the last 20 years. But days later, things took an ugly turn. Speculation was soon rife on social media that India is aiming to boost tourism in Lakshadweep at the cost of Maldives. Blinded by the fear of potentially losing tourism revenue to Lakshadweep and their own anti-India bias, these 3 Maldivian ministers made derogatory remarks on social media against Prime Minister Narendra Modi. They mocked India, they scorned Indians, they took a jibe at India's tourism industry. India raised the matter with Maldives, and all 3 ministers were suspended. The government of Maldives called those remarks the personal opinion of the suspended trio. But the damage was already done. Sentiments were heard in India. Boycott Maldives and explore Indian islands hashtags started trending on social media. Influential voices of Indian political leaders, actors and sportspersons pushed back against the anti-India narrative. They urged Indians to explore holiday destinations within India and support India's own tourism instead of holidaying in the Maldives. Indian actor Akshay Kumar did not hide his surprise. He asked, why was India, a country that sends the maximum number of tourists to Maldives, targeted? After all, India contributes significantly to the Maldivian economy through tourism. That's a fair observation because Indians form the largest group of tourists to the island nation of Maldives, and their numbers have only been increasing year after year. But that is now facing an issue. Several Indian tourists have cancelled their flight and hotel bookings for this Indian Ocean nation. This was their mark of protest against insults heaped on India. Some travel companies stopped sales of holiday packages to the Maldives. All this triggered a spiraling effect on the tourism sector of Maldives, which is the mainstay of its economy and also a key driver of jobs there. Maldives' loss was India's gain. Travel portals reported a massive surge in search for Indian destinations like Lakshadweep and Andaman and Nicobar Islands by potential holidayers. These Indian islands have now become the most sought-after holiday destinations. And guess the effect on Maldives tourism. Its president is now asking China to send more tourists to Maldives. The row naturally had diplomatic repercussions. Officials in India's Ministry of External Affairs discussed the current situation and ties with Maldives High Commissioner Ibrahim Shahib. He told him that India found the minister's behavior unacceptable. But it is not just the people of India who are upset with the hateful remarks of the three suspended Maldivian ministers. There was opposition even from within the political system of Maldives. Ibrahim Mohamed Solih, former president of Maldives, who Muizzu succeeded in 2023, shared his anguish on X. And there were others who called for Mohamed Muizzu's ouster as Maldives president. All indications that the controversy was blowing up in Muizzu's face. But what raises suspicion of an invisible hand is the timing of the controversy, leading us to ask a few questions. What was the real intent of the three Maldivian ministers? Why did they mock India, Indians and the Indian Prime Minister just hours before Mohamed Muizzu, the newly elected president of Maldives, was to land in China on a state visit, which, by the way, was Muizzu's first state visit to any country since he took office, after, of course, he visited Turkey and the UAE, breaking away from tradition of visiting India first. And the final question: if this indeed is a game of puppetry, then who exactly is the puppeteer controlling the game from behind the scenes? While Mohamed Muizzu flaunted his anti-India stand during his election campaign, and his government's decisions have done little to change that perception, and I won't go into the details of those decisions today on Indian military personnel or hydrographic surveys or Maldives skipping a meeting of the Colombo Security Conclave, but the question that we are asking today is he and his team of ministers acting on China's behest? Are they doing China's bidding? Even though the Chinese state media claims Beijing never asked Male to reject New Delhi. So here's the reason why we see a Chinese hand in the Maldives row. China wants to control the reins of Maldives. It wants Maldives in its sphere of influence. It uses the same predatory tactics against Maldives that it uses against other BRI member countries to entrap them in its strategic orbit. Let's see how China is doing that. 1. Through a debt trap called BRI. Until 2011, Maldives was not a priority in China's foreign policy. Beijing did not even have an embassy in Male. But their relations grew after Chinese President Xi Jinping visited the archipelago in September 2014. Maldives joined China's Belt and Road Initiative, or BRI, the same BRI that traps member countries in an unsustainable spiral of debt. So China actively invested in large-scale infrastructure projects in the Maldives, with the most prominent ones situated on the capital island of Male and the adjacent island Hulhu Male. The pro-Chinese government of Abdullah Yameen that was in power in Maldives then consistently favored Chinese companies over Indian firms. One such project was the expansion of the Vilena International Airport in Male. Abdullah Yameen's government cancelled the contract which was previously given to India's GMR infrastructure and awarded it to a Chinese company, Beijing Urban Construction Group, instead. Today, Maldives owes China about $1.3 billion in debt. Yes, that is the amount of Chinese debt on Maldives today. China is Maldives' largest external creditor. China accounts for about 20% of Maldives' total public debt. IMF says Maldives is at a high risk of external debt distress. But Maldives' debt exposure to China was even worse during Abdullah Yameen's regime. In 2017, Maldives owed over 70% of its foreign debt to China. This gave China huge leverage over Maldives, undermining its sovereignty, much like China did with Sri Lanka, where it left that country with no option but to allow Chinese control over Hambantota port, as Sri Lanka could not repay Chinese debt. 2. Through a one-sided FTA that only sought to serve China's interest. In 2017, China and Maldives signed a free trade agreement. That FTA sought to cripple the Maldivian economy. Maldives faced a potential loss of $4 million in import duty revenue in 2018 alone. That was because of a tariff waiver on Chinese goods. Former president of Maldives and advisor to Abdullah Yamin's successor Solih, Mohamed Muizzu, called out the FTA for what it was, a one-sided treaty that was unthinkable given the huge trade imbalance between China and Maldives. But the then Abdullah Yamin regime in Maldives hailed the same anti-Maldives one-sided FTA as a game changer. Well, the implementation of that FTA has since stalled. But now President Muizzu says his government is committed to its quick implementation. Imagine where this will take the Maldivian economy. So why does China want to draw Maldives closer in its embrace? That's because of Maldives' strategic value. Maldives is positioned at a critical junction of international shipping lanes and sea lanes of communication. 2/3 of the world's oil and half of its container shipments pass through these lanes. China wants to expand its sphere of influence in the Indian Ocean region to secure its own trade interests and energy supplies. But China is also insecure because it lacks direct access to the Indian Ocean. It lives with a Malacca dilemma. That is a hypothetical wartime scenario in which China assumes that American or Indian navies can potentially disrupt its Indian Ocean sea routes beyond the Malacca Strait. That's not all. China also sees Maldives as a vital pearl in its string of pearls strategy. This strategy aims to encircle India with Chinese developed network of military and commercial establishments in countries that lie in the Indian Ocean region. China's establishment of a military outpost in Fidu Islands, strategically positioned near Malé and not far from India, poses a potential threat to India's security interests in the region, as the facility could serve as a naval base for China. This was an instance of Maldives falling for Chinese tactics. A Chinese company backed this Maldivian island on a 50-year lease. All this happened during the reign of former Maldives President Yamin Abdul Gayoom from November 2013 to November 2018. His government was particularly open to Beijing's outreach. And now the present government in Maldives, led by President Mohamed Muizzu, is showing a similar tilt. But is falling for Chinese tactics in Maldives' interest? To answer that, let's see India's approach towards Maldives. India and the Maldives have long-standing ethnic, linguistic, cultural, religious and commercial connections. India was among the first nations to recognize the Maldives after its independence in 1965 and establish diplomatic relations. In 1988, India rushed to help Maldives in thwarting a coup attempt by Abdullah Lutfi. The coup was backed by Sri Lankan militant group LTTE. It was neutralized by India under a mission codenamed Operation Cactus. India has been providing the largest number of training opportunities for the Maldivian National Defence Force. It has been meeting around 70% of the defence training requirements. India has executed several development projects in Maldives, from hospitals to educational institutions. India was the first to assist the Maldives during the 2004 Indian Ocean tsunami. India sent water aid to Malé in December 2014. A fire had destroyed the generator of its biggest water treatment plant then. President Yamin Abdul Gayoom was in power in Maldives then. His pro-China leanings did not matter to India. The people of Maldives did. India swiftly sent 30,000 doses of anti-measles vaccine in January 2020 to prevent an outbreak in the Maldives. India reached out to Maldives with medical and financial assistance during the COVID-19 pandemic, and India became Maldives' third largest trade partner in 2021. But even though Maldives appears to be distancing itself from India, the question is, what is in Maldives' interest? 1. Ensuring a delicate balance between nurturing relations with its neighbours. 2. Managing the country's substantial debt burden. 3. Recognizing that adopting a confrontational stance against India may not be the best way to conduct its foreign policy, because it exposes a tilt in its foreign policy against its geographically closest neighbour. Maldives, an archipelago of 198 inhabited islands and numerous atolls, is located barely 90 miles away from India's Lakshadweep Islands. That is how geographically close India and Maldives are. 4. Maldives may do well to appreciate that India's approach stands in stark contrast to China's predatory economic practices and strategic actions. India's strategy is firmly grounded in the principle of equity of development, neighborhood first, promoting constructive development and mutually beneficial growth. This is in tune with India's Sagar doctrine that stands for security and growth for all in the region. In contrast, China sees Maldives as a pawn in a zero-sum game. It sees Maldives through the prism of expanding its sphere of influence further into India's strategic backyard. 5. Strong ties with India can also benefit the people and economy of Maldives, because India has invested over $1.5 billion in Maldives, which is substantial considering Maldives' small population of just 500,000. Indians form the largest group of tourists to Maldives, as you know, and tourism is Maldives' largest source of revenue. It is its biggest employer. It contributes more than 25% to the country's GDP and gets 60% of its foreign exchange earnings. Maldives is also dependent on India for medical aid. It prefers India for medical tourism too. Specialized medical treatments and surgeries are either unavailable or limited in Maldives, so Maldivians prefer to come to India for it. Indian assistance in recruiting doctors and specialists is crucial for the Maldives, which relies on this support to fill gaps in its healthcare workforce. So Maldives must choose its friends wisely. Past experience shows India is the natural and reliable choice. Time for a breather on connecting the dots. Coming up on the show, are you obsessed with having the perfect body? We tell you what that can mean for you.
We just don't bring you the news as it unfolds. We get to the heart of the matter.
We don't just present facts, we demystify complex social, political and economic events.
We break stories that shape the world's present and future because you deserve the truth.
I am Tanvi Taneja from New Delhi.
I'm Ollie Barrett from London.
I'm Nick Harper from Washington, D.C.
Join us on DD India Global Monday to Friday at these times.
Are you obsessed with having the perfect body? Is it a false ideal that you are chasing? And is that obsession harming you in any way? We explore that next. Do you love yourself? Of course you do. We all love ourselves. And it should be like that, but do you love your body? You may wonder, what kind of question is that? Of course, everybody loves their body. What's the big deal? But if this was the case, then why is there a chase? A chase for the perfect body. That perfect body that you can stand in front of the mirror and say, wow. If you want to wow yourself with your body, ask yourself a few questions. Why is that your desire? Is it to feel good about your own fitness, or is it to turn heads and win validation from others? Is it a healthy pursuit or an obsessive and over-the-top one? Is it a sign of low self-esteem triggered from comparisons with others, or is it the result of imposition of physical appearance parameters that are popular in public perception, such as weight, height, and skin tone? The reason why I'm raising these questions is that adolescents are particularly vulnerable to body shaming. That includes weight shaming and appearance-based shaming. So what exactly is body shaming? Body shaming involves humiliating someone by making inappropriate or negative comments about their body size or shape. Teens are affected the most by it, and social media makes them more vulnerable to it. Let's see how social media plays a role. Social media often puts undue emphasis on physical appearance. It makes it easy to post hurtful comments about others. It pushes you to drive for the perfect body and find ways to hide your flaws. This can influence your body image. What's more, our selfie culture emphasizes outward beauty. We are constantly bombarded with images of glamorous celebrities on social media, newspapers, magazines, advertisements, TV shows, and films. What you see every day on Facebook or Instagram can make you envious of others or focus your thinking on your physical appearance and any perceived flaws. You may struggle to live up to these standards and experience negative feelings and judgments about yourself. This can diminish your self-worth and body image. Beyond social media and the selfie culture, other factors also influence perceptions regarding bodies or outward appearances. For instance, many youngsters want to look like their favorite stars. In most cases, those desires are unrealistic because celebrities pump in a lot of time and money into their fitness regimes, personal trainers, and even cosmetic surgeries. Also, one needs to keep in mind that even supermodels and film stars have insecurities around how they look. Then why perceive them as the ultimate representations of beauty and run after beauty standards they set? While some may think that celebrities are part of the problem because how they look tend to shape perceptions around perfect body exteriors, but the reverse is also true. They are also part of the solution. A growing number of celebrities are raising their voices against body shaming. They are normalizing conversations around it. Take a moment and watch this video.
Body positivity is a movement started in the 1960s by fat black women as a space for them to be seen and to fight for equal opportunities. This movement basically means and says that everybody, no matter their size, race, color, or health or fitness levels or anything, they deserve respect, they deserve to be treated equally.
Many more are contributing to awareness building. For instance, American singer and actor Selena Gomez has opened up about being body shamed over a weight gain due to a medical condition called lupus. Indian actor Bhumi Pednekar has spoken about how she was subjected to constant trolling over her body weight since childhood and how she developed a thick skin towards trolls. American singer and actor Ariana Grande has spoken out against body shaming comments on social media. American model and television presenter Ashley Graham has been an advocate of body positivity. She has encouraged her followers to show confidence regardless of their size. But it's not always fat shaming. American singer-songwriter Taylor Allison Swift has opened up about being skinny shamed or being shamed for being too skinny. A Canadian news anchor gave an on-air response to a body shamer who asked if she was pregnant. Leslie Horton works with Global News in Calgary. She was giving a usual traffic report on 27th November when she took the opportunity to address a negative email that she had received from a viewer earlier that day. Listen to what she says.
Just going to respond to an email that I just got saying congratulations on your pregnancy. If you're going to wear old bus driver pants, you have to expect emails like this. So thanks for that. No, I'm not pregnant. I actually lost my uterus to cancer last year.
Netizens praised Horton for an epic on-air response. In fact, people from different walks of life have weighed in on the issue. Pope Francis condemned body shaming among young people. Look at this report. The Pope himself admitted that he was guilty of doing this when he was a child in Argentina, more than 7 decades ago. Addressing university students, he spoke of cosmetic surgery too. Pope said, and I quote, "Plastic surgery serves no purpose because its beauty is going to fade eventually." He further quoted 20th century Italian actor Anna Magnani as saying, "Please don't retouch my wrinkles. It took me so long to earn them." Body shaming has triggered controversies too, and controversies also have the potential to raise awareness. Victoria's Secret fashion show landed into a controversy when an Australian supermodel slammed it for body shaming and called for a boycott. Personal lives of celebrities also offer some lessons. Oprah Winfrey, the famous American talk show host and television producer, has long been under public scrutiny for her body weight. The issue even made it to the magazine and tabloid covers. Winfrey recently disclosed that she includes an unspecified weight loss drug in her workout regimen. This is what she said in an interview. "It was public sport to make fun of me for 25 years. I have been blamed and shamed, and I blamed and shamed myself." Oprah is one of many people who take weight loss drugs. The intake of such drugs has created a huge market for the pharmaceuticals industry. This report says the weight loss drugs market in the US is expected to grow to about $100 billion by the end of the decade. Pharma companies are in a rat race to tap what they see as a promising opportunity, and rivals are looking for acquisitions and trials. To give you a few examples, Swedish pharma giant AstraZeneca is making a $2 billion bet by licensing an experimental pill from China's Egogene. AstraZeneca believes the pill may have fewer side effects than existing injectable weight loss treatments. This Swiss pharma group has jumped onto the bandwagon by agreeing to take over weight loss drug developer Karma Therapeutics for $2.7 billion. And this drug maker is developing a combination treatment for obesity, for which clinical trials are expected to start soon. But it does not stop at drugs. People go in for surgeries too to achieve their perfect body goals. Procedures such as liposuction, breast augmentation, and tummy tuck, to name a few, have become increasingly popular. So where should one draw a line? How much desire to look a certain way is too much? Well, the answer lies in adopting a healthy and balanced outlook towards body shape and size, in acknowledging that everyone has a unique body, and in accepting that there is no one-size-fits-all definition of a perfect body, of beauty, or of physical appearance. Social media trends of recent times offer some reason for cheer. Social media platforms have utilized body positivity hashtags to address appearance-based prejudices ingrained in us. So mindsets seem to be changing. It will surely take time to change preconceived and long-standing ideals of body and beauty, because we have all internalized perceptions around them in different ways. But if you wish to make a start, this can be your guide. 1. Focus on your overall well-being. 2. Understand yourself holistically as a combination of strengths, weaknesses, perfections and imperfections. 3. Understand that having a certain body type is just a part of you. It is not what defines you. 4. If you feel lower self-esteem, think about your strengths, appreciate yourself and accept your body. 5. Comparisons with others don't help. Embracing your body will encourage you to not overly focus on physical appearances of others. 6. Set some fitness goals to be achieved through exercise, yoga and healthy eating. 7. Surround yourself with people who support and inspire you to do better. And 8. Discourage discriminatory behavior at homes, schools, colleges and workplaces. Promote a culture of respect and acceptance instead. In the final analysis, what matters most is your perspective. Who knows, what you consider a flaw or imperfection is what makes you beautiful. Self-love is not a destination, it is a journey. So love your body. That's it then in this edition of Connecting the Dots. We'll see you next week with more raging issues. Until then, goodbye. Thanks for watching. Namaskar.